From Michigan's #1 news station, this is Channel 7's 6 o'clock Action News with Mike Hofeld, Dana Eubanks, and Detroit's First News team.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Our top story tonight, a train derailment in the city of Birmingham, which has left 2,500 residents in Troy, Birmingham, and Bloomfield Hills without power. Between 15 and 20 cars jumped the tracks about 2:30 this afternoon. Now, Grand Trunk Railroad officials told Action News just a short while ago they won't be able to determine the cause of the derailment until the cars are righted and they can examine the tracks. Luckily, there were no injuries, and Grand Trunk officials say the train wasn't hauling any hazardous materials. But as Channel 7's Charlene Mitchell reports for area residents, the accident was still a terrifying experience.
Residents of this garden apartment complex near the railroad tracks were the first to suspect that something was wrong. They say the train noise they are accustomed to hearing was different.
Came out on the porch to watch and just watched the cars going by, and then the noise got louder and louder, and all of a sudden I saw the boxcars twisting and falling.
Heard a drastic change in the rhythm of the train, and I right away thought it was a derailment. I looked out the window and I saw a boxcar. It left the track by about 3 or 4 feet. The train was going, it looked about 50 miles an hour. All the other trains kept piling up behind the car that had derailed.
Several residents were relaxing at the pool when the train derailed. To call it a close call is an understatement. If the cars had fallen just a few feet closer, it could have been a disaster.
It was starting to get really loud. It was like making a strange noise, and I jumped up and I just saw it like buckling over and starting to turn over, and there was other people at the pool too, and they jumped up and was running for the gate.
It was Panic City. We knew that car was coming right, the train car. It bounced and it bounced around, and we were all awfully upset.
What's left is a tremendous mess. Crews from Grand Trunk Railroad are en route to Michigan for the cleanup.
They've got a crew coming from Indiana. They should be here about 11 p.m. tonight, and it should take another day to clean up the tracks and the cars to get the tracks serviceable.
Police say they're having trouble keeping sightseers away. They're worried about the possibility of live wires or someone getting hurt in the debris. They'll be standing guard overnight to help protect citizens and to prevent vandalism to the new cars and other things still on the train. From Birmingham, I'm Charlene Mitchell, Channel 7 Action News reporting.
And Detroit Edison officials tell Action News they hope to have power restored to area residents
rail
by
cars
8 o'clock
overturned,
tonight.
spilling their load, which included cars fresh from the factory. News 4's Kevin Kerrigan reports.
It happened around 2:30 this afternoon, just north of the Birmingham train station on 15 Mile Road. 18 rail cars, part of a 74-car Grand Trunk train, left the track. They skidded more than 100 yards, knocking down power lines and smashing through fences before coming to a rest. A number of people lounging in and around an apartment pool narrowly escaped injury as one of the cars drove through a fence beside the tracks.
When the train started coming, it sounded extra loud. So I stood up to look, and it was like it doubled over and it started, tipping over. And everyone jumped up and, headed for the gate.
My little brother was in the pool with me, and I can remember everybody running. I didn't know what was going on, and I looked to see in the train. It looked like it was coming right for the pool, and I just tried to get out really quick, and I was really scared.
Although no one was injured, the derailed cars took out a number of power and phone lines, and emergency crews sealed off the area because of the danger of live wires. Detroit Edison reports that 2,500 people are without power as a result. And Grand Trunk officials are still trying to assess the damage and figure out the cause.
We're going to have to get some heavy machinery in, and I'm waiting to hear on that to see what their arrival time will be, and we'll go from there.
Could be a while?
It could be, could be a while.
The train was carrying a load of GM cars from Flint and Lansing, scrap steel, lumber, and some creosote, but officials say there is no environmental damage due to the spill.
This derailment comes at a particularly bad time for the car manufacturers. This is Grand Trunk's major shipping line from the north into Detroit, and many of the automakers have been adding extra loads as a result of the car hauler strike.
The fourth unit is still secured. It's still chained down. This one, I don't know without looking at it. So, if the entire car is totaled, you're talking $150,000.
On that car alone?
On the rail car.
It'll be at least 3 days before the mess is cleaned up, and maybe longer before officials know why it happened. Kevin Kerrigan, News 4.
Grand Trunk Railroad officials will begin searching for the cause of the derailment. An accident one Grand Trunk official told Action News tonight is highly unusual. The train derailed about 2:30 today, just feet away from an apartment complex and a swimming pool filled with people. The accident downed a power line, leaving some 2,500 area residents without electricity. Detroit Edison has that power back on tonight. The train was carrying new cars and auto parts to Detroit. Fortunately, there were no hazardous chemicals on board, and there were no injuries. However, witnesses to the incident tell Action News it was one frightening experience.
Looked like they were coming right into the yard here, and there was a woman and some children frantically getting out of here, and I gave her a little assistance getting her clear.
And it was starting to get really loud. It was like making a strange noise. And I jumped up and I just saw it like buckling over and starting to turn over. And there was other people at the pool too. And they jumped up and was running for the gate.
It's going to take an awful long time for it to be cleaned up, that's for sure. And I'm just thankful nobody got hurt.
Tonight, Birmingham police are also on the scene to keep vandals away. Yesterday in Tiffin, Ohio, another train carrying new cars jumped the tracks. Railroad officials there say they plan a full investigation, including a check for possible sabotage. That accident occurred about the same time as the one today in Birmingham. Damage there has been estimated at about $2 million. Like the situation in Birmingham, there were
to completely repair the track there. 5 of the 18 rail cars were carrying brand new Pontiacs. Now, some boxcars came as close as several feet from an apartment pool, but no one was injured. Investigators say that they still don't know the cause of the derailment, but they have ruled out sabotage.
Things will happen. Axles break, wheels suffer strain and fail, and occasionally when you have this much tonnage, you will have a problem.
Gawkers and picture takers watched the cleanup today. They doubled the business of an adjacent grocery store whose dumpster was damaged by a falling boxcar.
Just behind our parking lot, right up to the very edge, there was a car that fell down, and the side of it was right at the very edge of our lot. So
lucky then.
Yeah, very lucky.
Grand Trunk officials say that trains are being allowed through now, but at reduced speeds. Repair costs are estimated in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Marcia